Hey, hello everybody. Hi, it's Marcus from PageProof here for another PageProof Academy. So this time we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to take a look at something more specific to an actual workflow that we focus on. So I'm going to take you through a packaging workflow and some of the features that PageProof offers for those that are involved in packaging design and the kinds of tools that we can use to get that work done. Of course, with packaging, it's all about accuracy. It's all about checking stuff and double checking and making sure that we get the packaging as perfect as possible before we press the button and get a lot of this packaging printed. So I do have a background in packaging many years ago, but it's something that was I remember the workflows very, very well. But what I thought I'd do is we're going to actually switch between a couple of applications because we wanted to talk about, uh, you know, InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, the tools that you use. I'm going to actually focus more on Illustrator, but everything that we do here will be applicable if you happen to use InDesign for your packaging layouts, then this will also work for that. And for those that might be using Photoshop for particular areas, then it's also fine for that as well. But I think no matter what the tool you're using or the file format that you're working with, when it comes to the proofing part of it, that's where we start seeing some of the tools that are buried deep inside of the PageProof interface. So what we're going to do is, as you can see right now, I've got Illustrator up on screen. What I'm going to do is we're going to pop back into PageProof and look at the review tools that are there inside of PageProof and just get a sense of those. We'll then come back into Illustrator and we'll actually make changes and upload a new version and look at some of the features for sending out particularly packaging type work from inside of Illustrator out to PageProof. So let's get into it, and we're going to jump now back over into PageProof. So here we are inside of PageProof. I've actually got a piece of work that I've been working on, a piece of packaging work. And you can see that we've got a whole lot of details here on this piece of packaging. And you'll notice over on the right-hand side of the screen, we've got a checklist, which is sitting up here. So the checklist will actually go into these checklist templates that you can create and put your own checklist items in here. This is the experience that your reviewers get when they open a proof with a checklist attached. So the checklist is giving me a prompt and what it is that I need to do. So if you haven't explored the checklist feature of PageProof, it is extremely useful for situations like this, where you really need the reviewer to actually get into some detail around your packaging and looking at things like, double check the QR codes, double check the barcodes correct, all those sorts of things. You can put them into a checklist item. As the reviewer goes through, they will simply check off the thing that they've checked. Then great, that person has at least covered off that element that I wanted them to do. So that's how the checklist works. But I'll put that down for now, and we'll go through the other features that are available. Okay, so with packaging, what I'm going to do is actually, I'm not going to go through placing feedback. We would expect that, if you are a dedicated PageProof user, you'll know how to use the red pen tool to place feedback. It's actually getting into some of the details in, for example, the magic tools. So if we look at this menu down here, over on the left-hand side, we've got magic tools. Now, if you open up magic tools, inside of here, we've got things like keyboard shortcuts and being able to hide the markup and the focus mode and things like that. But the ones I want to focus us in on are the ruler tool, the grid lines, and then here we have the barcode and QR code scanner as well. So these three tools we'll just have a look at right now. So if you choose the ruler tool lets you go in and measure elements. So you can do things like, okay, how wide is this? So it'll give you the width of the area that you're looking at. Or if you want to click over an area, you can also do this as well and say, well, exactly what size is this particular piece. It's also good for checking over other areas you want to know, is that text space? What's the bounding box on that? You'll also notice there's a diagonal measurement in there as well if you need to get the diagonal option. Now, this is in inches. For those of you who work in different measurement units, you'll see it showing in inches right now. If you want it in something else, you go down here to this measurement widget at the bottom, and you come up and you can say, hey, I want to switch over to centimeters, whatever other measurement format you would like. You can choose that from here. Okay, so that's the ruler tool. Extremely useful for getting in and just finding out sizes of particular pieces of the artwork. And you'll also see there it's got scale. Now, the interesting thing about scale, typically used not necessarily in packaging, unless you're making a box to put a cruise ship in, then the scale allows you to use PageProof with architectural diagrams and things, and you can change the scale of the ruler inside of PageProof, and that's done again down in the widget. You can change the scale of the ruler. Probably not applicable to packaging, as I said, unless you're packaging a Airbus 380 or something like that. Anywho, right, let's get on to the next one. That is going to be our grid lines. So grid lines put grid lines around the sides of the page. And then now you can pull in grid lines and just check alignment of things. So grid lines, you can pull them in from the top or pull them in from the side and just make sure things are lining up the way you'd expect. So this is a really good way of just checking alignment on the proof. So getting in and making sure things are the way you want them. You can also change the color of these grid lines, by the way. Little dot in the corner here, if you click onto it, you can choose a different color depending on what the color is that your packaging is. So you can go through, and if you really want to choose your own custom color, you can do that as well. So just some options there for the grid lines and changing the colors of it. So that's super useful, especially if you're working with artwork that's of various different colors. So that's the grid line feature, and that's something that your team can use for just checking alignment. Now, the next one, the one that I really want to check out here, the barcode and QR code scanner. So you'll notice I've got some barcodes on here and some QR codes. If you choose the barcode scanner, it scans over the top of the artwork and then it highlights for you, hey, here's what I've found. And it's going to highlight for you barcodes and QR codes. And those are of various different types, medical barcodes, packaging barcodes, all sorts of different barcodes and QR codes. Now, if you hover over, we will give you the information about the barcode. So you'll see code 128, and there's the value. And we also give you the dimensions as well as the diagonal. So that's good at a glance. You can see where that's at. If you click, we then give you some other options here. So you can copy the code to the clipboard if you want to. So you can paste it into a comment or do whatever you need to do there. Or you can copy all the info about the barcode. So it'll give you the barcode and information, and it gives you the dimensions as well. So you've got all of that stuff that we saw by doing the hover in the clipboard, and you can paste it in somewhere else. If you want to make a comment, you just click create comment and it'll give you a focused comment around that exact piece, around that barcode. So that's how we handle the barcodes. For QR codes, slightly different, but similar. Hover over the QR code. We will give you the contents of the QR code. So that'll show up at the top and of course the dimensions of it. Now the difference with QR codes is when you click, it just gives you one extra option, which is open in a new tab. So typically QR codes will contain a URL to go somewhere. When you're proofing, if you look at the QR code, you can't tell where that URL is going. But here you could click open in a new tab and that would open that up and you'd be able to check that's going to the right place. And of course the copy of the code, copy all the info, so that'll be the code and the dimensions as well, and then create a comment if you want to. So those are how you use the PageProof barcode scanner. Extremely powerful and something that we think a lot of people are probably not finding inside the interface. Again, make your reviewers aware of it. Super useful for that sort of work. Okay, so now we're going to go down and we're going to see that there's actually a fifth tool in the bottom here, And you're probably wondering how did that get in there? So this is a PageProof X tool. Now, something that isn't known so much about PageProof is you can extend the tools just by adding a tag into the tags of the proof. So I'm just show you that. If I click on the info icon here and I go view tags, you'll see that there is an X tool tag here. So X-converter. And what that does is it adds the converter tool to the PageProof interface. There are others as well. There's X calendar, there's a couple of X calculator. So they are all available inside of here. And in fact, we can probably put that in. So X calculator. So if you put that tag in, and then we simply hit the refresh on this proof, you'll see that we will have now available the converter, and now we have a calculator. So super useful for your reviewers if you think, particularly in a packaging situation, that you want to give them a few more options. So I think, the calculator just gives you a simple calculator inside of PageProof, so you're not having to go elsewhere just for checking things. And with the unit converter, that gives you a unit converter inside of here, so you can choose different things in here and then do different measurement conversions or whatever you need to do. So useful X tools inside of the proofing interface, and they can be specifically for your packaging proofs. Now, I'll show you during proof setup, and we'll do that soon, how you can add X tools automatically to all the proofs that you create, which is a good little tip from this. Next thing, getting down here, the measurement widget. This shows you the technical information that we've been able to extract out of this particular file. So you'll see again, when you're doing packaging, we don't want courier font substitutions or anything like that getting into our work. So inside of here, you'll notice that we've listed the fonts. And if you click on these, it'll show you the style, the substyle as well. So if you have courier showing up in here, we really need to get to the bottom of that. So this just shows you those fonts in here, and it also shows you how many colors there are. So we've got a CMYK and a spot color. So again, really important for packaging. I don't want to have a missing color here, or if it's supposed to be a 6-color job, where's the other color? So it just poses those questions for you. Now, on colors, you'll notice here over on the center of the screen, there is a ColorSep icon. So ColorSep shows up in particular situations, and particularly packaging, labels, and those sorts of things, logo design, where you've got just a couple of pages, usually a front and a back or something like that. And it's a CMYK file from Illustrator or InDesign, you'll get the ColorSep icon. So if I click onto ColorSep, it goes into a special ColorSep mode. And inside of here, you'll see that we've got the separation plates down on the left-hand side. We've got the ability to zoom here, so we can zoom in and out just to look at a bit more detail if we need to. And then you'll see that if I hover over this work, it actually gives me a color breakdown. So I can see the ink usage on this. So I can see where we're using all the different, and it's going to CMYK and going back to the spot and all that sort of thing. If you want to inspect the color plates themselves, you just click on the plate name and it'll show you exactly how that's going to separate out. So you can go through and check those. You can also, if you hold the Option key on Windows, the Command key, then you can join the plates together and see how they're going to blend. So that's useful. Or if you want to just make sure the spot is just the spot, then you can just click on that spot color and see it. So useful here. If you want everything just in gray and black, you can turn off the color predictor up here, and then you can go through and just see everything in gray if you want to, apart from the composite. Now, something I will point out, in the ColorSep mode, you'll see if you've used a standard Pantone color name, and this is one of my one of the things I really try and push when it comes to, if you've used a standard Pantone color name, PageProof will actually do a lookup and get the ink color for you. So you'll see it already knows what Pantone 247U looks like. If you've called this our grape color, then it won't be able to do that. But if it shows up here as black, you can click onto this and you can actually select what the color will be. So if that does show up for you and it hasn't found the Pantone, you can actually choose it from here, and you can switch between the different modes to make sure that you choose the right color and things. So just a little tip there on that. So that's ColorSep. And again, hovering over and just seeing how the ink density is going to be is really useful, and just making sure that you've got the overprints right. So you'll see here, this is just purely the Pantone color when we've got the CMYK going underneath it. So just a few things just you can check using this feature. All right. Okay, so let's go and take a look at some of the features or how this all interfaces with Illustrator. So we'll switch over now. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put some markup on here. Let's do that. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, and I'm just going to draw around a few pieces here so we can see. So I'll just say move this. I'm going to use the text highlighter, and I'm going to say, let's break this up. So I'm going to highlight over that text, say, make sure we break this properly, and then add that comment on there as well. So just a couple of comments, just so you get the idea of how this works. I'm going to send this back with a set of changes to the designer. So we'll just return that to-do list. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look this up inside of Illustrator. So, and here's my file. And I've got the PageProof plugin added to my copy of Illustrator. So it's over here, PageProof panel. If you don't have this, this you can get just free from your Adobe. Just go into your Creative Cloud application, go to plugins, search for PageProof, and you'll be able to install it. It's a free one that you can use. Now, if I look for that proof, we can see it inside of here. And if I highlight it, it's going to show me the comments that we just placed inside of PageProof, showing up inside of my inside of Illustrator. And if I click onto the comment, what it does is it brings the markup from PageProof and puts it on top of the artwork. So this is, I mean, it's the best brief in the world. I wish I had this many years ago when I was in packaging myself. It's showing me that's the markup there. And so I can go in, make the change, and then I'm able to mark that as done. So you'll see there's a checkbox here. Once I've gone in and maybe I've grabbed hold of that and done something with it, let's just move that around. I'm just going to move it randomly somewhere. I can say, yes, I have done that. And again, if you click onto the next thing, it's going to highlight this for us. We can go in here and, I'm going to break up this word a bit better. So I'll get in and actually say, well, maybe we want this on another line. Oh, I left a space. So you can go through and actually do the setups that you want to do. Just go through and make sure that those are right. So I'll just do that change, and yes, that change is now made. That's great. Now I want to upload a new version. So very simply click on the icon here, which is upload new version. And that's going to say, hey, how do you want this to look? So what you'll find here is that you can upload an Illustrator file straight in, or you can make it a PDF. It's up to you. The thing to note is that if you make it an Illustrator file, the file at the other end for the reviewers, if you've got the download feature turned on, if they click download original file, they're going to get the AI file. So you may or may not want to do that. And I know with packaging files, I probably wouldn't want to give out my AI file to reviewers. So you can say, hey, give that to them as a PDF. It'll still render properly. It'll still all the same things as the AI file does. It just now means that when they download it, they'll just get a PDF. But I quite like just doing AIs for demo purposes. So when you do this, it's going to now take you to the PageProof setup screen. So here we are in the PageProof setup screen. Now, a couple of things to note here. It's brought over all of my settings from my last proof, but I wanted to just show you that, if I did, for example, take out a few things. So if I take this out, for example, and I just turned off my checklist. So if I said no checklist and maybe no workflow, let me take this back to sort of bare bones. What we're seeing here now is a standard PageProof setup screen. What I wanted to show you was how you can use proof templates to set stuff up for you. So I've defined some proof templates. You can do proof templates over in this menu. Go to Team and then go to Team Proof Templates, and you can define proof templates here. And they'll be now available up in the top menu here. So you can see I've got select template in the top of my screen. Now for packaging, we want to be precise, right? So I can click on select template. Packaging projects is a template that I've chosen, and it's going to preload everything for me in my proof setup screen. So you'll notice it's added the X converter, it's added my workflow for packaging, and it's automatically added my packaging checklist. So there's a whole lot of elements on the screen have just been set with one click. So if you've not seen proof templates before, they're really cool. And that is one good use of it, is being able to add on X tools and being able to set workflows and set checklists for particular styles of work. Okay, so we're going to upload this new version that puts it into PageProof, and then all we're going to do now is take a look at the compare feature so we can see how that looks. So there's my proof. You can see my changes all made, looking good. How does it compare to the previous version? So click on the compare icon. It puts the two side by side, and you can see that's good. If you've got a keen eye, you can line that up and check things, or press the Smart Compare, and PageProof will show you where the differences are. So Smart Compare is really great because it shows you where the differences are on your proofs. And if you want to get a more granular look, just click in and use the slider tool, and you'll see that just shows you using the slider tool where the differences are. So excuse me, very effective way of checking changes. And again, we want to be precise for packaging, so this is a great feature for that. I'm actually now going to show you one more feature, and this is to do with the dashboard. You can do things like put product codes inside of your tags, and that will then tag the proof with that particular code. So this is super useful. For example, if you want to have, a particular code, you can add that on here. You can see I've got a master. Now, some workflows, specifically when you might be doing something like, hey, we have a master for a particular piece of packaging, and now we're doing translations for different markets. Or, hey, in this particular market, we have this ingredient list, and in a different market, we have slightly different ingredient ratios or something like that. But you want to now compare the one you're working on against the master. So what you can do is you can upload into PageProof the master and just manually approve it. Okay, so you'll see here I've got a thing I've called this master, and it's approved. And if I look at the info in here, I have got the packaging code for this particular piece of work. And what's great about this is I just do a search for that particular code. It shows me the master, and it shows me also the variation that I'm working on. Now, a little known feature in the dashboard, if you go over to this cog at the top of the screen, scroll down and click on compare, you can choose the master and the one you're working on, the variation, and go into compare mode. So it's a great way of checking the master against the working file that you're working on. And you can click Smart Compare and see the differences between your master and the variation that you're working on. So really, really, really useful for those kinds of workflows where you do have that master, and you can see right here. And if I went into the slider mode, you can really see the differences between the master and the actual one that the variation that we're working on. All right, so that's just a little tip just to conclude this academy on some packaging workflows and how you can use PageProof for your packaging. So just to recap, we went through the proofing screen, looking at all of those tools, including the ruler. We then took a look at the lining up of all of those grid lines. Then we looked at the barcode QR code scanner. We then went down and we saw the X tools that you can add to your proofs. There's an article, if you go to help.pageproof.com and look up X-tools, all one word, there's an article there which will show you the X tools that are available, and you just add the tags to your proofs, and boom, your reviewers get a bunch of new tools that they can use in the PageProof interface. We then saw the measurement widget, which has the technical information, particularly things like fonts and colors. We looked at ColorSep. We then went into Illustrator and looked at how to use Illustrator and get that markup back inside of your proofing screen. Now, as I said, from Illustrator, also, you can send out a brand new proof. So there is a button here at the bottom of that widget, of that panel, where you can initiate a new proof. You simply click onto it, and then you can name it, and you can choose the format that you want. So sending out new proofs is also available from inside of the Illustrator plugin. So last thing, using that compare, again, if you've got a workflow where you've got a master and then you've got lots of variations of that master, use that feature I just showed you how to set it up, upload your master, approve it manually. So it's sitting there as a frozen sort of master. And then when you do your searches with the product code, which is inside the tags, you can use the cog icon here to come in and go into compare mode between a master and the one you're working on. So thank you for your time today. I hope you found some things here really interesting and they're useful for your packaging workflows. Thank you and have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody.